Evening, folks. Just back from work, and I've set up the bivvy quickly for a quick overnighter just down on my local lake here in Newton Ards. Literally tried to get a peg close to the car park so as I could throw the gear back in at 6:30 in the morning, head back home, wash, showered, and back to work to teach some children mathematics tomorrow. But we will see what the night brings. Not long getting the rods out at dark there. Nipped over to the shops and stuff to get some food, waited for the rain to die off, and went about it slowly. I have no idea at this time of year what bite time's sort of like. I suppose it could be at any time. But the rods are out, I waited for the rain to die off, and we are fishing. Now, what I am using on this session is the Pineapple Specials 12mm by Horizon. They are drilled out with 4mm of cork, and I've also got the Zest Specials in 12mm, exactly the same. I have them on a size 4 crank, Corda Kamakura crank, and those hooks are surgically sharp. Now what I've found is to get them to actually balance, you need to drill them out well, and put a lot of cork into them and just tip them off with a wee bit of cork sticking out. It nearly looks like a tipper. And I think the reason that they are so hard to balance is the amount of metal work I have on the rig. If you imagine you have a quick change swivel, you have a massive hook. Most people now will have a bait screw and a bait stop, and all that stuff is very heavy. So the fact that a 12mm pop up with a bit of foam or cork can actually sit that upright in the water, and I mean dead upright, because I like the hook to be sitting as much as it can up with a wee tiny bit of a curve, so as when the fish sucks it in and hits that lead, it just claws down into the bottom lip. But confidence is key, and I am confident. I have the Horizon Baits Winter Abyss crumbed and some half and whole versatile out on the spot as well. Not much, just a couple of handfuls per rod, and I mean handfuls, tiny wee handfuls. I'm not feeding them. I just hope they're in the area and there's a bit of bait scent, and with a couple of mouthfuls they also take the hook bait, which will be quite enticing to them. But I'm away in the morning at 6, half 6, and that's sort of probably leading into bite time, the early morning, 8, 9, 10 maybe even. So the fact that I'll not be here, I'm not hopeful, but we'll see what the night brings anyway. It's not that cold, though last night and tonight the temperatures have dipped down. I think when I was going to work this morning it was about 3 degrees, and that was at about 10 to 8, so the nights have been cold enough. But if you remember from some of the other videos, on the quick overnighters, I've been using the Nash RDS Rapid Deploy System shelter, and I just found it was a bit too claustrophobic when you have a few other bits and pieces with you. So of the Fox Super Brolly up, I've only a peg down with 3 pegs. There's not much wind. I want to be able to just throw this thing down, get it in the car, get all the gear, and away. I mean, the handy thing is I don't have a wet net or a cradle or any of that stuff to bung into the car. It is all part of the club, so it goes back into storage for the next angler. Sign it in, sign it out. So we'll see what happens. It's just good to be out and relaxed. I looked in the sign-in book here and I haven't seen my name in it for a long, long time. I had to go back loads and loads of pages, so it's good to actually get your name back in the book. And you're not going to catch them sitting at home. You've got to be in it to win it. So we shall see what happens. But if you hear from me later in the night, you'll know it's because I've got a fish. If you don't, it's because we've blanked, and I'll talk to you in early morning. All right. Here we are, folks. An 8-pound 4-ounce mirror. Absolute screamer, 1-toner. Actually felt like a far bigger fish. As I was walking out, the deck in here was very slippy. I ended up falling, kicking the pod over. So it was a whole calamity just to get this fish in, but well worth the effort on a quick overnighter. Back to work tomorrow, packing up about half 6 in the morning. So I wasn't expecting anything, but it's paid off, so happy days. Let's get her back. Well, it's not long after 10 a.m. I was watching the Screaming Delcums live there, and I'd actually just wrote into the page, into the group, to say that I was out on an overnighter between work, and all of a sudden the rod absolutely tore off, and I'm fishing quite a tight clutch. So I went out. Now I had a couple of times I had to recast the rod out because I think trout were picking it up and dropping. I was getting those sort of skittery wee takes and drops. And there was no mistake in this. It absolutely tore off. Now I'm wearing my Crocs, and as I went out onto the deck in there, I lost my footing and then ended up falling, nearly sending the pod under the water. So I'll need to be careful the next time, and I'm just taking it a bit slower. With not being here in a while and not being out, I've sort of lost my bearings a bit. So I've I got an egg on my face for that one, but at the end of the day, it ended up with a fish landed safely into the landing net. Nothing big, £8.4, which for this lake is actually very small. You know, the fish in here are going up to £30 and just tipping the scales maybe one or two just a wee bit over that. So in the scale of things for the lake, not massive. But you know what? I haven't been here in ages. I'm fishing a new bait, and it seems to be doing the business. I mean, I have been using this Horizon stuff now for a few months, and the last two sessions that I've had out on it have been brilliant. It seems to be really outfishing anything else I've used so far. Um, it's confidence, isn't it, really? A lot of people will say the best bait is location, which is absolutely true. But if you're confident in something and you put it out, you're more likely to leave it out there. You're not going to chop and change. You go back to your bivvy, or you go back to sit down, and you're confident that the bait is working for you. And that's what I feel with this. Plus, they're a great bunch of people to deal with, so I couldn't be happier. And what I love about it is most of their pop-ups are 12mm, so everything is scaled down. And I've seemed to find, since I've done that, it is putting more fish on the bank. So I'm going to be testing these baits out right through the year here on this Lake Glenvale and see how that works. But you got to be in it to win it. I think this year I've just renewed my ticket, £225 for the 4 lakes. I think this year what I'm going to do is venture out probably to one or two of the other lakes. I want to crack one place and end up with a good few fish under my belt. I mean, it took me a long time here last year to get on the fish. Once I did work out what was happening, I had that 17 and 26 in the space of a couple of hours from each other, and I felt that that was a landmark, and a lot of smaller fish after that. So it has been working well for me. We'll just see how it pans out for the rest of the session. Do you know what? I'm not expecting anything else, but I tell you what, if another fish comes, I'll greatly accept that. But unless I fancy doing something later on or showing you anything, it might be wait till I see you with another fish or in the morning. We'll see how it goes. What I will say is I'm just trying to get out as much as I can to get my sort of head prepped for France. I'm heading away very end of June, start of July to Lake Heritage with a good few of the guys from England. Getting the ferry over and then driving to Newcastle, where I am getting in Mick's van, and Mick is taking me and Paul hopefully to the ferry, and we'll be getting the ferry over to France and then the long drive to Heritage from there, so it should be good crack. But again, I want to get my sort of my eye in with the fishing this year so that I'm mentally prepared for France. I'm going to see which of the baits I'm going to take to France. The nut-based one, the Versatile, which has like a vanilla overtone or something like that. It's a lovely bait. Or the Captive, the fish meal bait. See what's working well for me. I mean, I prefer sweet baits in their very nature just because they smell nicer to me. But I know I've had really great success around a lot of different lakes in Ireland on the fish meal ones. With a fishy bait, once the fish get onto them, they just seem to get the heads down and munch them like there's no tomorrow. So we'll see what happens, but I'll keep you posted. Morning folks, this is me just awake literally 2 minutes, nothing more through the night after that wee mirror that I had. So just doing the quick pack up here and heading home for a shower, changed and off to work. As you can see when you're leaving, absolutely beautiful, crisp spring morning. So now I get this lot back to the car. Well folks, here endeth the lesson. It's been a nice wee session, just out for a few hours between shifts. And to be honest, I'm getting too old for this. At the age of maybe 16, 18, into your 20s, packing down at 6 in the morning and heading to work seems like a good idea. Once you're in your 30s, it's bloody hard work. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would love if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel. Lots more to come through the spring and into the summer, so keep a good eye out and tight lines when you're on the bank.